It was a beautiful, sunny summer day, and the Appleton family was gathered on the patio. Craig, the head of the family, sat in the gazebo's shade, wearing a robe and a black bandage over his eyes. He sipped his coffee while his wife, Diana, sunbathed on a lounger, cocktail in hand. She looked stunning with her perfect figure and flawless looks. She fluttered her long, doe-like eyelashes and called out to her stepdaughter, Lisa, a lively 7-year-old running around the pool, trying to catch a butterfly with a net. Lisa, stop running. Can you play quietly for at least 5 minutes? You little rascal. The girl, cute with her curly brown hair and chubby cheeks, resembled a little angel. Having long since adjusted to her stepmother's lack of affection, Lisa didn't even flinch at the scolding. Just then, a gorgeous butterfly with colorful wings landed on the edge of the pool. Lisa carefully took out her phone, eager to snap a picture. She crept closer to the edge, but suddenly stumbled and fell head-first into the water. Daddy, I'm drowning. Help me!" Lisa screamed, flailing helplessly as she struggled to stay afloat. Craig rushed to the pool, panic rising within him, but his vision was nearly gone. He staggered, waving his arms as he called out to his wife. "Diana, can you hear? Help! Lisa, please! I can't see anything." Yet Diana didn't even rise from her lounger, merely protesting. "You little brat, I told you to sit quietly. Maybe this will teach you a lesson. Stop shouting. Just swim to the edge and climb out. Come on." Hearing the commotion, Peter, the gardener, threw aside his lawnmower, dashed to the pool, and jumped in, quickly pulling Lisa out of the water. Shivering and frightened, she rushed to her father and cried, "Daddy, I was so scared. I just wanted to take a picture of the butterfly. My phone is ruined. I didn't mean to fall in." "It's okay, sweetie. We can get you a new phone. That's just stuff. The main thing is that you're alive and well. Now go change your clothes, but please be more careful near the pool. The tiles are slippery. Don't scare me like that again." Diana, furious, chimed in, "What a weakling you are. You should have punished her for disobeying. She nearly drowned and ruined an expensive item. All you do is spoil her, and she's gone completely crazy. When are you going to find a nanny for your daughter? I can't handle her." Craig shot back, "How dare you? She almost drowned, and instead of helping, you sit here. Thanks to Peter, she's safe. Lisa is just a child who has lost her mother, and I love her dearly. You'll have to accept that if you want to be with me." "Do you think your own child won't misbehave?" he continued, frustration boiling over. "And yes, I will definitely find a nanny. I've already placed an ad, but you see, I'm blind now, so it's very difficult." Realizing she'd gone too far, Diana quickly softened. "Don't be angry, dear. I love you very much, you know that. But I can't be tied to Lisa all day. I have training, fitness, massages, and a beauty salon to keep up with. Now I also have to manage your business and your daughter. So please hurry up and find a nanny. It'll make life easier for all of us. Anyway, I have to go. I have a manicure at noon and a massage at 2. Love you. Don't miss me too much." Lisa felt a surge of happiness at her stepmother's departure and quietly sat next to her father, hugging him with her little arms. "I'm sorry, Daddy. I didn't mean to. Why is Diana so mean? She doesn't love me. And you just don't notice it. I miss my loving mommy so much. What about you?" Craig sighed and hugged his little girl. "I miss her too, my little one. She was the best. But you know she's in heaven now. Diana isn't so bad. You're just not used to each other yet. I promise you'll help choose the nanny. By the way, another candidate should be coming soon." The girl kissed her father on the cheek and ran off to play with her dolls in the yard. Meanwhile, Craig closed his eyes, feeling the familiar ache of memories wash over him. His first wife, Vanessa, had been beautiful and an excellent housewife, hailing from a good family. Most importantly, she had loved Craig. They were meant to live happily ever after. But 2 years ago, She passed away from a severe genetic illness that had started after childbirth. At first, her vision began to fail, then her memory. Eventually, she lost the use of her arms and legs, becoming bedridden and slowly fading away. Watching such a young and vibrant woman turn into a helpless invalid was terrifying. Craig felt utterly powerless. No matter how much money he spent on treatments, he couldn't bring her back. After Vanessa's funeral, their daughter had withdrawn, crying for a long time and still mourning her mother. Craig thought he'd never be able to love again, until one evening at a business dinner. That's when he saw Diana. She was sitting with a friend, drinking martinis and chatting animatedly. What started as a formal gathering soon morphed into an evening of fun and dancing. And as he found himself swaying with the beautiful woman, he felt utterly captivated by her charm. That's how their romance took off, culminating in a quick wedding. Diana settled in rapidly, assuming the role of the lady of the house with confidence. She issued commands and delegated tasks, but the tension between her and Lisa was palpable and mutual. Craig honestly believed that Lisa was simply jealous of him and his new wife, and he thought that with time, things would improve. Yet even after 2 years, the situation showed no signs of getting better. Recently, the conflicts between the stepmother and stepdaughter had escalated. 2 weeks ago, a terrible incident occurred. Their driver, Tim, requested time off for personal reasons, forcing Craig to drive himself to work that day. While leaving the office late, he was ambushed in the parking lot by 3 thugs. He fought back, but one of the criminals sprayed pepper spray directly into his face. Fortunately, a passing patrol car scared off the attackers, but the effects of the spray were severe. Craig was left with burning eyes that nearly caused him to go blind. Now, he had to navigate life wearing dark sunglasses or a blindfold while undergoing intensive treatment. The doctors warned him that if the medications didn't work, surgery would be necessary to restore his vision. This offered him a glimmer of hope, but he remained deeply anxious. For a time, Craig was effectively disabled and confined to home, struggling to manage his company remotely. What frustrated him most was that he couldn't fathom what he had done to provoke such violence. He hadn't faced sharp conflicts in a long while. He now had to run the business from home, conducting phone calls with partners and holding online meetings. Surprisingly, Diana threw herself into the business with fervor, immersing herself completely. Craig's thoughts were interrupted by a pleasant voice. "Good afternoon. Are you Craig Appleton? My name is Carol. I'm here for the nanny position. I'm scheduled for noon." The businessman smiled. Though he couldn't see her, he sensed she was a pleasant young woman. He began to ask questions. "Carol, how old are you? Have you worked with children for long? Do you have references from your previous jobs? I want to find a true professional for my daughter." Carol sighed. "Well, I probably won't meet your expectations. I don't have any recommendations, but I love children and am willing to work for a modest fee. I've already met Lisa, and she's a wonderful girl. I promise to be with her all the time to teach her." At that moment, Lisa ran up, announcing that her father was hesitating and frowning. With a cheerful wink at Carol, she exclaimed, "Daddy, let's choose Carol. I really like her. And by the way, you said I could pick the nanny myself, didn't you?" Craig weighed the pros and cons. Carol seemed a bit too young for the role, only 23, with no experience or references. Who knows what kind of person she might be? But her voice was so lovely, and Lisa genuinely liked her, which was a first. Well, what will be will be. All right, Carol. You're hired, with a trial period. You can start right now. There's a schedule of lessons and a daily routine in Lisa's room. You'll also need to take her to dance and art classes, walk with her, help her with her homework, and keep me updated on any changes in her health. Is everything clear? The girl nearly cried with joy. She really needed this job. "Thank you. You won't regret it. I'll do my best." From that day forward, Carol became part of the Appleton family, excelling in her role. Lisa adored her. Carol didn't pressure or scold her. They were more like friends. When Carol noticed Lisa slacking off or resisting her writing practice, she employed a clever tactic. Okay, how about a competition? Whoever finishes their tasks faster and better will earn the biggest and most delicious vanilla ice cream. And the loser will have to eat oatmeal for 2 days. Personally, I can't stand oatmeal. What about you? Lisa, panting, hurriedly wrote those dreaded letters, determined to avoid the unappealing oatmeal. Craig was thrilled with the new nanny. His daughter was thriving academically and was in good spirits in the evenings. She even asked if they could discuss Carol teaching her how to style her hair or create macrame. Only Diana wasn't pleased with the new nanny, constantly muttering, "You've chosen a strange nanny for Lisa. She's just a young upstart, and she spoils your daughter more than you do. What kind of upbringing is that? We need to be stricter with Lisa. Otherwise, she'll just take advantage." Before, she would at least get angry with me, but now she's silent and runs to Carol. Craig chuckled, replying, "You won't be satisfied with anyone, my dear. No nanny is inherently bad, but having a nanny isn't a substitute for your involvement. If Lisa is rude, you dislike it. If she doesn't say anything, that's bad too. Maybe you just need to find a way to connect with her." Diana pursed her lips and fell silent, mulling over her thoughts. "Do whatever you want. Just keep that annoying girl away from me. I'm so tired of her." In the mansion, there was a grand piano. Craig, a former musician, sometimes felt nostalgic and played a few melodies. But when he heard Carol and Lisa playing the dog waltz together and laughing joyfully, he nearly fell off his chair. "Carol, do you play the piano?" "I'm pleasantly surprised. I used to be a musician myself. I'd love to hear something else you play." The girl blushed and replied, "I'm not a specialist. I just had a great music teacher at the orphanage who said I had talent because I love music, especially this melody." With that, Carol played a slow and romantic tune that left Craig in a daze. Tears streamed down his cheeks as memories from his youth flooded back. He kept repeating to himself, "My God, this is simply impossible." When Carol finished, he thanked her and asked, "Tell me, where did you learn that melody? It isn't recorded anywhere, that's for sure. In fact, it was written by someone I knew." "My neighbor Rachel taught me how to play it," Carol replied. "She's a wonderful person, so talented. If you could hear her play. But she's going through a lot right now. Her son was taken away, and she was fired from her job for no reason. She's in a deep depression, and I've been trying to encourage her as best I can." Craig's heart raced, and his legs felt weak. He pressed for more details. "How old is your neighbor? What's her last name? How old is her son, and why was he taken?" "Rachel's last name is Lesnick. She's about 30, but I didn't ask her exact age. Her son's name is Adam. He's 9 years old. He's such a wonderful boy, smart and serious for his age. I'm not sure if Rachel was ever married or who Adam's father is, but she once mentioned a first love that tragically failed. Last I heard, Rachel worked as a music teacher at a private school. She earned a decent salary and was dedicated to her job. But then the director started making advances. He's married, over 50, and even has grandchildren, but he wouldn't stop harassing her. He threatened that if she didn't sleep with him, he would make her life miserable." Craig's expression darkened. "What happened?" Rachel didn't back down. When he shamelessly groped her in his office, she slapped him and threatened to tell his wife and report him to the police. That's when he lost it and turned her life into a nightmare. While she was away, someone broke into her apartment, creating a mess, cigarette butts, empty whiskey bottles everywhere. When Rachel returned home with Adam from school, child services and fake witnesses stormed in. She was completely blindsided by the mess and filth, and they took Adam away, claiming she was drinking and neglecting him. But that's a lie. I visited her place countless times. It was always clean. She didn't even smoke. We only had a little wine on special occasions. In short, Rachel was in shock. She's been pounding on doors, trying to get her son back and prove she was slandered, but it's all been in vain. The director fired her, publicly humiliating her, telling everyone she was an alcoholic and unfit to teach. Since then, Rachel has lost all hope, spending her days crying outside the orphanage where Adam is kept. Just imagine what it's like for a sensitive little boy to end up there. They only show the wonderful side of orphanages on TV, how well-fed and well-dressed the kids are. I lived in one, and it's a nightmare. My heart aches for both Rachel and Adam. I'd personally strangle that cruel old man who destroyed her life out of sheer lust. Craig was shocked by what he had just heard, tears streaming down his face, aggravating his already sensitive eyes. Everything was falling into place. "I need to see her," he said, his voice trembling. "Carol, please bring Rachel here tomorrow. I really need to see her, or at least hear her. You see, we knew each other long ago. It's a long story, but just do as I ask." Surprised, Carol nodded. "All right, I'll come with her tomorrow morning if she's willing. But how do I explain everything to her?" "Just tell her that Craig is waiting for her," he replied, his voice breaking. When Carol came to feed Lisa lunch, Craig locked himself in his office, cradling his head in his hands as memories of his youth flooded back. Memories of Rachel. Growing up with a single mother, he never knew his father. His mother spun tales about him being a polar explorer or a geologist, but as he grew older, he figured it out and stopped asking questions. From an early age, Craig loved music. He could sit for hours, lost in his favorite melodies. One day, while visiting friends with his mother, 5-year-old Craig sat down at the piano and, without knowing how, played a simple tune. His mother decided to enroll him in music classes, where he met Rachel. He vividly recalled the moment he first saw her. This adorable, skinny girl with 2 big bows in her hair and a folder of sheet music in her hands. They were seated at the same desk, and from that day on, they became best friends. They eventually decided to apply to music college together, achieving their first successes and performing at concerts. Over the years, that childhood friendship blossomed into true love. Rachel was always so dreamy and free-spirited, caring little for material things. She lived for music and paid no mind to the fact that musicians often earned very little. They made do, saving on everything, but all of that began to frustrate Craig. Like any man, Craig dreamed of owning his own house, driving a nice car, dressing well, and living comfortably. That's why, after finishing college, he didn't pursue further education, but instead tried his hand at trading and starting his own business. This choice led to more frequent arguments between him and Rachel. "Craig, what are you doing? Don't give up on music. It's your talent. You're really gifted. Your fingers were made for playing and creating," she pleaded. But Craig was frustrated. "Rachel, I don't understand you. You're not living in the real world. Don't you see we're poor? How are we going to survive on the meager earnings from music? Who needs those concerts now? I'm working to buy you these gold earrings to help us dress well and eat properly. Another girl would be thrilled with that. You could teach private lessons and earn good money yourself instead of lecturing me on how to live." Deeply offended, Rachel took off the earrings and threw them at him. "Take them. They're not a gift if you're going to use them against me. Maybe it's better if we break up. I don't understand you anymore. Why have you changed so much? You've become harsh, cold, and soulless. I want a simple, quiet family life. I don't need wealth, just loyalty, trust, and love. But you're obsessed with money. You disappear for days, and your eyes are always red. When was the last time you sat down at the piano? I won't give private lessons. I won't take money from children," she declared. Craig waved his hand dismissively. "Well then, go ahead and live your life the way you want. But you'll regret leaving me. I'll become a successful businessman, and then we'll see." They argued and foolishly broke up without any real reason. Craig threw himself into his career and soon opened a chain of auto repair shops, working day and night like a squirrel in a wheel. Eventually, He met Vanessa, married her, and had a daughter. He was swept up in the whirlwind of life, with no time to look back. But Vanessa's death hit him hard, leaving him weakened and vulnerable. Then he reconnected with Rachel and fell under her spell once more. It couldn't be said that he didn't love Diana. There were feelings, passion, and attachment. Yet none of that compared to the pure joy and light he experienced with Rachel and their shared love for music. Hearing that same melody from his youth, written by Rachel, stirred a deep longing within him. He yearned to see her again, to talk heart to heart. No matter how you look at it, first love remains in one's heart for a lifetime. It's never forgotten. Craig could hardly wait for the next day. He meticulously shaved and prepared himself in the morning, anxious for Diana to leave for the beauty salon. Her mindless chatter about clothes and gossip was driving him crazy. When Carol took Lisa to school, she returned home, not alone, but with Rachel. Though Craig could only see a blurry silhouette, the light scent of her floral perfume and her gentle, bell-like voice were familiar. "Craig, is it really you?" she exclaimed. "When Carol told me yesterday that you wanted to meet, I was surprised. You've changed so much. You've become quite the distinguished man. What happened? Why do you have a black bandage over your eyes? Are you sick?" Tears streamed down Craig's face as he listened to her words. He took Rachel's hand, feeling its softness and the delicate fingers made for music. He kissed each finger gently, whispering, "My dear Rachel, how happy I am to see you and breathe your scent. We were such fools to break up back then. You ask what's happened to me? 2 weeks ago, a group of thugs attacked me and sprayed pepper spray in my face. Now I'm almost blind. I can only see blurry shapes. The doctors say I need an operation, but that's not what matters. Carol told me you have a son, Adam." "Rachel, is he mine? Please tell me the truth. Do I really have a son?" With a heavy sigh, Rachel answered softly, "Yes, Craig. Adam is your son. I haven't been with any other men since you. No matter how hard I try to forget you and move on, I can't. But they took my little boy from me, and my heart is breaking. I can hardly sleep. I just sit outside the orphanage, waiting for him to wave to me from the window. What did I do to deserve this? I never wronged anyone. I hate that lecherous old man who ruined my life," she continued. "He's bribed everyone just to hurt me as much as he can. I'm so desperate I'm about to agree to his terms just to get my son back. There seems to be no other way." Craig squeezed her hand tightly, almost shouting, "No, don't even think about it. I'll help you get your boy back. Give me all the information you have about him and that man. I'll find the right people and hire the best lawyers. Together, we'll take him down. I have connections in the police department. Remember Henry Black? He's a police captain now, so don't worry. I'll get Adam back. I won't let my son wander through orphanages. Please trust me, Rachel. Everything will be fine. I've never met anyone like you, and I won't let you go. You can count on that." They shared warm goodbyes, and for the first time, Rachel truly felt a glimmer of hope. Craig called Henry, who quickly agreed to help, suggesting they carry out the operation. Rachel had to call the director, pretending to agree to his terms, and set up a meeting. They equipped her with a microphone, tasking her with getting her boss to confess everything so he could be caught. Rachel was distressed, but she was determined to do whatever it took for her son. Taking a deep breath, she dialed the director's number. He answered reluctantly. "So, you finally agreed. Stubborn girl. What do you want?" Inside, Rachel felt a simmering anger, but she managed to respond as calmly as possible. "Edward, please, I beg you, give me back my son. I'm willing to do anything. Let's meet. Just tell me where and when." He smirked. "Let's meet tomorrow at 6 in my office. I have a nice couch for discussions. I'll be waiting for you, my sweet little bird." Sickened by his lecherous words, Rachel steeled herself, dressing as provocatively as her upbringing allowed, donning a blouse with a deep neckline, a pencil skirt, and high heels. She applied extra lipstick to her already full lips, carefully hid the recording device, and made her way to the director's office on shaky legs. The detective had instructed her that if things went awry, she should open the window. She knocked and entered the office. The director lounged in his chair, a predatory grin on his face, as he looked Rachel up and down. "Good evening, my little bird. I see you're looking quite delightful tonight. Come on, take off your clothes so I can admire you." Rachel nearly choked on his audacity, frozen in fear. What if he attacked her? But the thought of Adam and the operative waiting outside gave her the courage she needed. She quickly began pulling out champagne and sweets. "Edward, let's not rush things. How about we drink first and relax?" He didn't object. He uncorked the champagne and poured them both glasses. As they toasted, Rachel got straight to the point. "Before we go further, I need to know if you can promise to give me back my son. I know you're behind this." Edward grinned. "You should have been more agreeable from the start. Then there wouldn't have been any problems. No one could turn me down. My secretary and the gym teacher here are smarter than you and are reaping the rewards of my connections." He leaned back, enjoying his power. "A close acquaintance of mine works in child services, and thanks to my influence, she placed your boy in an orphanage. I even hired some thugs to stage that mess in your apartment. Money talks these days. Honestly, I liked you. I fell for you. So the more pleasure you give me, the quicker you'll get your son back. So, are you relaxed now? Take off your clothes." Rachel realized she couldn't delay any longer. Pretending to unbutton her blouse, she walked to the window and quickly opened it, praying for the police to arrive. In that moment, the director lost all control. With surprising agility for his age, he lunged at her, indecently touching her and trying to rip her blouse off. Rachel screamed and fought back, disgusted by his advances. Edward shoved her, knocking things off his desk. "Shut up, you fool. There's no one here. Even the janitor has left. Have you lost your mind?" Just then, the flimsy door burst open, and the operative stormed into the office, swiftly arresting Edward. "Shame on you, engaging in such disgraceful behavior at your age, and as a married man, no less. How will your grandchildren feel when they learn what their grandfather has been up to?" The director cursed, struggling to break free. "You had me wrapped around your finger. You'll pay for this. I have connections." The policeman retorted, "We'll deal with your connections later. How did you manage to take this woman's child and cover it up?" Finally, Rachel relaxed, exhaling deeply and bursting into tears from the stress she had just endured. "Will they return Adam to me now? He confessed to everything, didn't he? Did I do everything right?" She handed the officer the recording device. He reassured her, "We'll sort everything out. I believe you'll be reunited with your son soon. Don't worry. We'll make sure this scoundrel goes to prison. People like him belong behind bars." The case made headlines, and the lecherous director was convicted. The townspeople were outraged that he had been allowed to work in education for so long. Rachel was reinstated at her job, her good name restored. Most importantly, she was reunited with her son, weeping and kissing him without end, and he held her tightly in return. Meanwhile, Craig eagerly awaited news about his son. He had become so absorbed in Rachel's problems that he completely forgot about Diana. But she had been watching from the sidelines, ready to confront him. "Darling, what's going on? You're always on edge, making phone calls and talking about Rachel and her son. Can you explain this to me?" Craig couldn't see the angry, contorted expression on his young wife's face, but he felt the hatred and anger radiating from her. At that moment, he realized he no longer wanted to stay with her. It was clear that she would never get along with his daughter, and the truth was he didn't really love her. What he felt was more like passion, an obsession that had quickly faded. Diana had become increasingly controlling, imagining herself as the mistress of the house, and it was becoming unbearable for Craig. He sighed heavily, preparing for an unpleasant conversation. "You're right, Diana. We need to talk seriously. First, I'll answer your question. Rachel is my first love. We studied together at music school. We broke up foolishly, not realizing she was pregnant. She gave birth to a son named Adam. So now, I'm the father of two children, Lisa and Adam. Diana exploded. Are you saying that besides your spoiled daughter, there will also be a boy living here? How awful. I don't even want my own kids yet. And now you're pushing someone else's on me. Craig offered a bitter smile. You didn't listen to me, Diana. Our romance spun out of control so fast that I didn't even understand what was happening. But the passion faded quickly, and 2 years later, we're practically strangers. You don't get along with Lisa, and it seems you're not willing to find a way to connect with her. When I saw Rachel again after all these years, I realized I still love her, just like I did in my youth. I know it's unpleasant for you to hear, but I'm not going to lie. Tomorrow, I'm speaking to the doctor about eye surgery, and afterward, we'll probably need to part ways. Don't worry. I'll leave you the apartment in the residential area and the car I gave you. After that, well, you're on your own. You'll have to find a job and live like everyone else. Diana jumped up, her voice rising. What a statement. I'm your wife. Half of everything, property and business, is mine. I'll take what's rightfully mine. Ungrateful. I've been living with you for 2 years, putting up with your unbearable daughter. At least you could say thank you. By the way, I'm not living with you anymore either. I don't need another burden on my shoulders. I'm only 25. My whole life is ahead of me. I want to enjoy life, not take care of someone else's children and a blind husband. Craig couldn't take it anymore. So this is how you talk? While I was healthy, giving you gifts, buying you gold, being a good husband. Now that I'm disabled, I'm no longer good enough for you? Well, then we can say goodbye right now. I won't keep you any longer. Diana realized she had gone too far and changed her approach. Honey, wait. Let's stop now. We both got angry and said too much. Let's wait until you're better before having this unpleasant conversation. Don't rush into surgery. The doctor said to wait a month. Otherwise, there could be complications. Come here. I'll kiss you. But her words sounded insincere and fake to Craig. He pushed her away. As you wish. I've said everything. Sorry, I need to listen to the recording of the meeting sent by my deputy. Diana stormed out of the office, boiling with anger. Oh, you miserable invalid. He's leaving me an apartment. But what am I supposed to live on? Go work? God forbid. I'm not cut out for that. Just wait. I'll get you. You'll remember me for a long time. Craig, ignoring Diana's outburst, decided to consult a professor about his condition. Rachel offered to accompany him for support, which he found touching. Meanwhile, Carol and Lisa had after-school activities that day, drawing and sculpting. When they returned home late, they were met with a shocking scene. The house was in disarray. The safe was open and empty, and many expensive items and electronics were missing. Carol was terrified and immediately called the police. Craig, we have an emergency. Lisa and I just got back, and we've been robbed. Everything's turned upside down. The safe is open, and the TV is gone. There were important documents on your shelf. Maybe something else, but I can't tell right away. I've called the police. They'll be here quickly. Okay, take Lisa to the children's room, lock the door, and don't open it for anyone until I get there. I'll be there soon, Craig ordered, instantly forgetting about his illness. He activated the camera recording and was horrified by what he saw. Diana and the driver, Tim, rummaging through the house, grabbing everything in sight. Electronics, jewelry, money, and important papers. Diana had no idea there were cameras, and she yelled in anger. There you go, hubby. You'll remember me for this. Tim responded angrily. What a lucky wretch. We could have finished him off, but we only blinded him. Otherwise, we'd have sent Lisa to a shelter and lived here like kings. Where did the patrol come from? They've never passed by before. Diana shouted at Tim to hurry, saying they needed to sell everything quickly since the nanny and Lisa would return any minute. Craig was in shock as the police quickly took fingerprints and rushed to apprehend the pair. As the chaos unfolded, Craig's daughter hugged him tightly, offering comfort. "I told you a long time ago, Daddy, that Diana doesn't love us. She's mean and bad. And you didn't believe me. You're going to kick her out now, right?" Craig kissed his little princess on the forehead. "You're growing up so fast." "Yes, Diana won't be living with us anymore. But I'd like to introduce you to a nice woman. Remember when she visited us once? Her name is Rachel, and she has a son named Adam. He's your brother. It's a long story, and you'll understand when you're older. I really hope you two get along." He added, "And don't worry, Diana and Tim will definitely face the consequences for what they did. They'll be punished by the police and sent to prison." Suddenly, Lisa asked anxiously, "Daddy, what did the doctor say? Will you be able to see again?" Craig reassured her, "I'm having surgery on Monday. You and Carol will be together the whole time, and Adam will be with you too. His mother will be there with me at the hospital. Please listen to Carol and be a good girl." Meanwhile, the police quickly tracked down Diana and Tim by following the trail to Tim's apartment, handcuffing them and taking them to the station. Now they both face serious charges for attempting to harm Craig and stealing from him. In her cell, Diana was in a panic. The gray, damp walls of the government building, the dirty mattress, and the terrible gruel filled her with indescribable horror. Only now did she realize what awaited her. She cried day and night, cursing herself. "What an idiot I was. Why didn't I just leave peacefully? What have I gotten myself into? I need to meet with Craig urgently and beg for his forgiveness. He's kind. He'll forgive me. I'll do anything to get out of this city. Anywhere, as long as it's not prison." Meanwhile, Craig filed for divorce, leaving all the details to his lawyer, and focused on preparing for his surgery. Rachel stayed by his side while Carol looked after the children. At first, Adam was shy and embarrassed, but the lively Lisa quickly befriended him, and within a day, he felt right at home in the Appleton household. After school, they often visited Craig in the hospital. The operation was a success, and soon the bandage would be removed from his eyes. Everyone was eagerly anticipating that moment. During this difficult time, Craig, Rachel, Carol, and the kids grew so close that they truly became one big, happy family. Lisa and Adam understood their father was sick, so they tried to behave, especially since they always had fun with Carol. Finally, the day came when Craig's bandage was carefully removed. Bright light flooded his eyes, causing him to instinctively close them, tears streaming down his face. Slowly, he began to open his eyes and was overwhelmed to see the world as it had been before the tragedy. The doctor examined him and, satisfied with the results, ordered him to prepare for discharge. As Craig stepped out of the office, smiling broadly, he spotted Rachel in the hallway. "My dear, I knew you hadn't changed at all over the years. You've just become even more beautiful. Same lips, curls, long eyelashes, and that lock tucked behind your ear. Rachel, you are so stunning. Finally, I can look at you, admire you every second, and see my son. Thanks to Carol, I'll be grateful to her for the rest of my life, for playing our melody on the piano. Believe me, I nearly fainted. Everything in my soul stirred. You wrote it yourself, Rachel. How happy I am that you're back in my life. I'm ready to sell this business. Throw it all away. It's been a thorn in my side. I've earned enough for our family to live comfortably for many years. So let's try to live as we want, in love, peace, enjoying each other, and the music. Are you okay with that?" Rachel's eyes filled with tears of joy as she hugged Craig. "You're my little fool. Those are the words I've been hoping to hear from you all along. I was so upset that you chose money and business over our love and passion for music. Of course, I agree. I still love you. Do you remember when we first kissed? You played me the Moonlight Sonata, and then we spent the whole night looking for the Big Dipper in the night sky while passionately kissing. You wrapped me in your jacket, shielding me from the rain, And at that moment, I was the happiest. Do you believe me? Let's go home. Everyone is waiting for us there. When Lisa saw her father walk confidently out of the hospital, she understood he could see again. She ran to him, exclaiming, "Hooray! Daddy, you're better. I'm so happy. Let's go quickly. We made you a cake. You'll love it." Adam and I helped Carol. Adam stood shyly on the sidelines, unsure how to approach Craig. Sensing this, Craig told Lisa to run into the house and decided to speak to Adam himself. "Well, hello, son. Finally, I can see you and look at you. You definitely take after me." "Yes, and that smile is all mine. You can't deny it. Did your mom tell you that I'm your dad? I'm so upset that I didn't know about you sooner. And 9 years of your life passed me by," Craig said, looking at Adam. "But now that we've met, let me be a real father, the closest person to you. I really want that. Know that I love you, son. I will never hurt you, and I'll always support you in everything." He extended his hand, and Adam shook it firmly, then quietly added, "I'm glad you're with me now, Dad. I see how Mom is smiling." Craig hugged the boy tightly, holding him close. "Now we'll all live together as one big family. You and Lisa seem to have made peace. She's your little sister, so stick together and support each other in life. Well, let's go have lunch." From that day on, the life of wealthy businessman Craig Appleton changed dramatically. He became an entirely different person, surprising everyone around him. He sold his successful business and focused on caring for his family and his love for music. With great pleasure, he approached the piano every morning, playing his favorite long-forgotten melodies. He even dug out an old music notebook. Rachel became his personal tutor and also taught the children. It turned out wonderfully. Craig and Rachel had immense natural talent, and they decided to take a leap of faith and open a private music school. The couple married modestly, not wanting to attract attention to their lives. They had no time for that, as they were too busy admiring and cherishing one another. Only now did Craig realize that all those years he had been living someone else's life, choosing the wrong job and the wrong woman, dragging the burden of it all by inertia. The only thing he didn't regret was his daughter, Lisa. She was his sunshine, a constant source of motivation to live and create. Rachel quickly became friends with Lisa, naturally warm and loving towards children, which made her a great fit for their little family. Carol, initially anxious about being fired, was reassured by Craig and Rachel. "Don't worry, Carol. Stay in our house. You're no longer a stranger to us. The children need you." Even with just Lisa, it wasn't boring here. And now we have 2 little rascals to look after. Meanwhile, Diana sat in pretrial detention, praying for a meeting with Craig. However, he deliberately delayed, wanting to teach her a lesson that would discourage her from stealing and cheating ever again. The young woman grew thin, her skin becoming dull and lifeless. The thought of spending years in such confinement made Diana feel ill, drowning her in despair and longing. So when she was told that her ex-husband was willing to meet her, she nearly jumped for joy. When a frail Diana entered the booth for their meeting, dressed in a crumpled tracksuit with greasy hair pulled back, Craig flinched at the stark difference. The confidence and bravado she once had were gone. Tears in her eyes, she began to plead quietly, "Forgive me, Craig, if you can. I know I'm to blame for everything. Now I have nothing left. I beg you to withdraw the charges. I don't want to go to jail. I'm just dying here. I promise I'll leave right away to my mother's and never come back into your life. Have mercy on me," she continued. Craig replied, "I hope jail has served as a good lesson for you. You won't steal from others anymore, at least not from someone who supports you. And you won't harm your next husband either." That plan failed. He added, "Just so you know, my vision has fully recovered. Lisa is a wonderful child. She gets along with Carol, Rachel, and her little brother, Adam. It wasn't about her. It was about you. You're a wicked, calculating, selfish person who only thinks about your own interests. I'll withdraw the charges, but if you ever show up again, you'll definitely end up in jail. I've kept the camera recording safe." Diana cried softly, whispering, "Thank you. You're a true human being." The Appleton family lived in peace and harmony, and many people in the city wanted their children to attend the music school. Lisa and Adam both played instruments. Adam chose the guitar and drums, while Lisa continued with the piano. Rachel often composed her own melodies, and Craig wrote poetry. Together, they created family songs they all enjoyed singing. Finally, Craig's life was filled with the meaning he had longed for.